Hi, I'm Hub Arkus for Pro Football Weekly, and it's time for this week's edition of our PFW Fantasy Ticker, where each week we identify players for you that you might want to acquire. You might want to think about moving off your roster, and to do that, we bring in senior editor and our fantasy expert, Mike Wilkening. And Wilkie, Philadelphia Eagles may have a player or two to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Nick Foles, their backup quarterback, is someone I would pick up this week. Now, again, Michael Vick may get the start here in Week 9, but you have to, I think, strike preemptively to pick him up, get him on the roster. The Eagles have a lot of talent on offense. They're facing some favorable defensive matchups here down the stretch. I think you pick up Nick Foles sooner than later, even if he doesn't start this week.
Well, and the indications I'm hearing are that he will start this week. But, Mike, if you have Mike Vick as your quarterback, you almost have to pick up Nick Foles.
Right. I mean, again, this is the idea. Handcuff your quarterback, so to speak. Make sure that you're protected if Michael Vick isn't the starter. There's too much talent on this Eagles offense to let him go claimed by somebody else.
Broncos running back Ronnie Hillman, some people think a little undersized, but certainly exciting, a guy who might be able to make some things happen. Is he a guy you might want to make a move on right now?
Yeah, he was one of the guys that stood out in Sunday's win versus New Orleans. Kind of an under-the-radar guy, but really ran the ball well. He had, a season high with 14 carries, 86 yards. He's a quick guy. I think he was a sleeper on a lot of radars before the season. It took some time to maybe get a little bit of a role in the offense. Now it looks like he's got one. First game after the bye, comes out and produces well. I'd say you pick him up. Again, he might be somebody that helps you down the stretch.
There are not a lot of players in the NFL more entertainingly named than Jaguars wide receiver Cecil Shorts. He's anything but that, but he is a pretty good football player, and some people are starting to think he may be a guy you want to get your eye on.
Yeah, more than twice as many receiving yards as anybody else on the Jacksonville roster. 70 catches of 20-plus yards. He had 22 targets the last 2 games. That's the real issue here. This is a guy that's making big plays, and he's also getting a lot of opportunities. I say you can pick him up, and you can start him immediately versus Detroit this week.
I think we all probably wondered, would there ever be a time when now Buccaneers tight end Dallas Clark, former Colt, was actually on the street, but he's not on a lot of teams right now. Is it now the time to add him to yours?
I'd say so. I mean, he's someone, particularly in bigger leagues, you got to keep an eye on. 8 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown the last 2 weeks. This is a Buccaneers offense that's really starting to get into gear, and Dallas Clark is one of the beneficiaries of that. He's someone that, again, maybe you pick up in a big league.
Well, Mike, the San Diego Chargers defense was exciting early in the season, first 3 weeks or so. Now they've struggled a little bit, but could this be a time when the worm's about to turn for them?
Yeah, it's a good matchup for them in Week 9 versus the Chiefs. And I just tend to think a lot of owners are going to be looking to the waiver wire. San Francisco, New England, the Jets, they're all on bye this week. So teams are going to be looking to add a defense. And I think San Diego's one that's a logical plug-and-play sort of defense.
All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the Fantasy Ticker. But for all the best in NFL news, notes, and analysis, you want to stay right where you are at ProFootballWeekly.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.